Hi, thank you for joining us today. I am Sunil Menon and I am joined here by Outlook Hindi editor Harveer Singh and Outlook's political editor Bhavna. And we are gathered to discuss Indian politics at another interesting juncture. A little bit of election fatigue. All our readers can be excused for having, because elections seem to be coming to India. They're not an event that come once in 5 years, but it's almost like a permanent condition. Just a fortnight ago, we had the Karnataka elections, which were kind of a slightly major inflection point, and the results there probably left us slightly undecided and ambivalent about where Indian politics is actually headed in terms of what the voters' intentions are vis-a-vis the Modi government, vis-a-vis the opposition, which is still in a certain kind of formative stage of trying to come together. And now we have another set of elections today. Results, they are all by polls. We have 4 elections to the Lok Sabha and 11 to the Assembly. So various Assembly seats. They are, in one sense, far more minor than the Karnataka results, but the data that we get here are spread out all over the country. So in that sense, despite the volume being low, we have slightly rich data, and they don't look very promising for the BJP at this point in time, Bhavna.
Not at all. Kairana was a extremely crucial poll for them, especially coming after the loss in Gorakhpur and Phulpur, and they were hoping that they will probably succeed in overcoming the opposition unity. And because now what they're aiming at is 51%, basically. So even the rest, even if they come together, they'll still be more than that. But obviously, it has not worked.
So this model of various parties actually coming together, which was initiated in Bihar and then replicated in Gorakhpur and Phulpur, and now which sort of post-poll, in a post-poll fashion, even replicated in Karnataka,
yes,
which they have actually done in a very systematic manner. And so now we find that Ajit Singh's RLD, which was otherwise losing elections quite systematically, has managed to actually put up it was a former SP candidate, former SP member's daughter.
Yes.
But they have just swept the field, and this is Western UP, where the BJP has been actually very, very dominant. Even after demonetization, they swept despite farmer distress, despite a whole series
yes,
of issues. Because of, there's been a sort of hinterland to the kind of politics that's been happening. There was Muzaffarnagar 5 years ago, and this is exactly, we are going back to that same place, Harveer. And Harveer actually comes from Western UP, so he knows the area very intimately. And we are now 5 years after the Muzaffarnagar riots, and we are going back after a series of elections in the same place where the BJP has been winning. And now we see this happening. What exactly, one thing we've been hearing is that the Jats have finally voted for a Muslim candidate. And after riots, you often hear this phrase, truth and reconciliation. And here, so the truth seems to have hit the Jats belatedly, that their economy has crumbled once the Muslims have gone away, and reconciliation seems to be a belated what exactly is happening in Western UP?
You are right that actually Kairana is the turning point of Indian politics, in my opinion. Basically one dominant caste and one community, one caste which is dominating socially and economically to the region, Western UP, but in number, Muslims are in big number. So earlier when Chaudhry Charan Singh formulated this combination, Jat, Muslims and other backward castes together. So he created a sort of kind of good combination, winning formula at that time. But 2013 was really a very bad phase for this combination. And you see that earlier also Jats were voting for Muslim candidates, Muslims were voting for Jat candidates. But
ever since the independence, that has
yes,
been a pattern.
ever since. And since, as you already said that I come from that area, since my childhood, I have never seen riots, particularly in the rural areas, villages. But in 2013, it was very unfortunate that this communal hatred reached the villages where people were living together since.
I believe they were marrying into each other's families.
Since generations and generations together, because both were complementary to each other. One have land, another has labor.
That's right.
So it was a combination. Even it was a very heartening thing when.
And you also have a very small component of
yes, when
Dards
recently
Muslims,
when,
right?
when I went to cover this election recently last week only, so I just went to a place where the resettlement colony of these Muslims who were uprooted from their villages. So they were admitting that there were some particular groups of people, those who were basically hooligans and bad characters. They created this mass. Normally, the commoner, even in that community, did not hurt us at that time.
Yes.
And we, both of us, are feeling that heat. And because we work from them, they need us. So even now, we are going to their villages, but they have to pay more money for our labor now, because either they come here to bring us there. So these are the factors. At the same time, it was
The
a
social fracture
Yes,
actually
yes.
made the economy itself collapse, right?
collapse. And you know, at the same time, there are houses lying vacant, nobody is buying them. The reason is that because there is a huge distress in the rural economy in the last few years. So even farmers don't have money to buy another house. So in that case, it was very economical, socially, all these things were like that. But at the same time, you know, anybody in the community, this side or that side, if you go in common way, we're not thinking like this. But at the same time, this combination or this when SP and RLD came together.
Yes.
Earlier, I think it was the greed of this political greed.
One thing I wanted to ask
Yeah.
here: all the general facts you mentioned are not unique to this election. They were there even during the assembly election. They were there during the Lok Sabha election. And what changed now?
Yes. What changed now? Basically, even there were allegations that SP played very bad game in 2013, right? Because they were having the government there,
Yes.
and they did the one-sided thing. So Jats were annoyed, and that anger among the Jats were basically captured by BJP. So
which was directed against the Samajwadi.
against the
party.
Samajwadi.
Yeah.
So the biggest change was that first time Samajwadi came together with RLD in the seat sharing, that whether it is Nurpur and Kerala. And it strategically, what RLD did, they put a candidate, Muslim candidate. So basically, it was a confidence building measure between the two communities. So it was like that if Jat will vote for a Muslim candidate, in future this combination will get more and more stronger. So when I went to some public meetings, so both of them were on the dais or working together. So that was a clear-cut indication at that time. And another important factor, which we should not forget, Dalits. The Dalit anger against the local BJP leaders and this Saharanpur incident and all,
That's right.
united and basically put Dalit into this basket
That's
of
right.
the opposition.
That's right.
Till last day, Mayawati did not make any statement whether we are supporting, but silently, when we used to ask this Gadbandhan team how Dalit will vote for you, no, they used to say that silently they are working.
That
Yes,
is like
of
a,
course,
that is
yeah.
like a signal.
She did
That
not
is
go
like a
to
signal,
campaign
yeah.
herself, but
Yes,
the people.
yes. So
absolutely.
this, and another important point in this election, which I think will have an impact
On the
future
Dalits,
also.
may I just raise one more point, because this was one had been seeing a certain kind of potential erosion in Mayawati's support base, or including in Western UP, because you have seen phenomena like the Bhim Army in Western UP actually, and very very physically located there, and where they have been finding her kind of politics somewhat inadequate in terms of how it articulates their everyday concerns about security, about identity and this and that, and they've been gravitating to the slightly more muscular kind of expression of politics. How did that play out here?
Actually, you see, those who are established politicians like Mayawati or in any other party, they don't want that new outfit comes and becomes very important politically. So that's why if you see, very cleverly, Mayawati never made any statement
Yes.
on this issue whether this Chandrasekhar Raman is behind bar under Rasuka, and they extended his tenure also.
Yeah.
So she did not. So, but in this election, the mother of this gentleman, Chandrasekhar Raman, was campaigning for this Gadbandhan candidate.
Oh.
Yes, yeah.
So that was
That is
very
what-
important. So that's why that united these Dalits towards the Gadbandhan
So
candidate.
then you have
So
the-
that was very important element in this election.
Yeah.
But during this Charan Singh's phase, the Dalits were generally considered part of that social bloc that he had, the Janata, the socialist kind of. He was always slightly distant from the Congress from Nehru's time itself.
No, but-
He was a kind of a man unto himself, and a whole part of the countryside, his support base, in fact, extended to the Jats. Even in Shekhawati in Rajasthan, I have known. And how does you think this is a kind of a Ajit Singh has probably forfeited a large part of the legacy and during his whole career, but do you think this is a kind of potential return to the Charan Singh legacy, and is there any future to this Western UP as a stage kind of model here or something like that?
You are right. Actually, Charan Singh was not only a leader for Jats, he was leader for farming
Farmers.
community.
Absolutely.
And farming community, his influence was not only in UP, entire UP and Haryana and Punjab and
That's
Rajasthan. Rajasthan used to support due to some Jat population is there,
That's right.
but it was going to up to Bihar and even some part of Madhya Pradesh.
That's right.
So because he was the only prominent farmers leader at that time,
Mm.
and he was opposing that Congress in this entire area. His legacy today, what is Samajwadi Party or Mulayam Singh? It is only his legacy.
Actually, Charan Singh.
So it is his legacy.
Yeah.
I have seen once in sometime in 1985 or 84 in Muzaffarnagar when Mulayam Singh used to be the state president of Lok Dal at that
Lok Dal,
time,
yeah.
and he used to sit with among the common and he was giving his speech. Charan Singh was giving his speech at the time. But one interesting fact I want to tell you here, that Dalits used to be the Congress supporter.
That's
So
right. Yeah, yeah.
OBC, the farming caste, whether it is Jat or Gujar or
Yeah.
Ahir or even
Straddling that,
Muslims.
backward
so
line.
it was
Yeah.
basically it was farming community party at that time.
That's
so
right.
definitely the major chunk, the booster was coming from the Jat community, but these people were working together. That's why after his death, when in 1987 party got divided and Mulayam Singh went with Bahuguna, it was Lok Dal A and Lok Dal B.
B.
Lok Dal E was Ajit Singh and B was Bahuguna.
Yeah.
And the new set of people came this side or that side, and finally Janata Dal emerged.
Which is like,
everybody came together.
famously like
But
fragmenting
in this entire process, you are right that Ajit Singh looked the major part of Charan Singh's legacy, and all these other leaders exploited that opportunity, like Mulayam Singh and Lalu Yadav in Bihar, or today's Nitish Kumar. It was Nitish Kumar who was given the first time MLA ticket by Charan Singh against the will of Karpuri Thakur. And
Yes,
interestingly, he lost that election. He lost the election, first assembly election. So, you are right that new kind of leadership is also coming, like Ajit Singh Sir Jain Chaudhary. I think he is a potential politician from Western UP.
That's right.
And this good chemistry between these young
Probably a
leaders,
great improvement on the father.
Akhilesh, whether he's Akhilesh or Tejasvi or Devinder Hooda or maybe a big party, Rahul
Yeah.
Gandhi. So basically, this is the new set of
Tejasvi.
politicians.
Tejasvi?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No? So definitely, this is a new phase of Indian politics.
And we have one viewer, Mohammed Hanif, who says socialists are still alive.
Yes. That in fact, carrying on from that Bhavna, if you look at the scorecard here,
Yes.
if you look at the whole set of data coming in from all this thing, it doesn't at all look good for the BJP in the sense. I mean, my latest figures say 1 out of 11 seats, assembly seats,
Yes.
and if you leave out Nagaland, where it's an ally that's winning, and whichever ally wins, they finally go with the center.
With the
So
centre.
it does not that way make a very significant statement.
Only Lok Sabha in
But
Palghar.
yes, so it's actually 1 out of 3 for
Yeah.
BJP. So what exactly should the strategists, whether they've been being acclaimed as the new Chanakyas and this and that with the
No, the
with
Chanakyas seem to have been stumped by this actually, because it was like a desperate election for them. Like you had Yogi Adityanath who went in again campaign, and we all remember what he did during the
That's right.
assembly elections earlier. and he went and campaigned in Kairana just a few days before the elections. Prime Minister, when the campaigning was over, everything was going to Bagpat and making a roadshow after inaugurating the Eastern Corridor.
That's right.
So I mean, this was just a desperate attempt because they know that the PM still is a factor which is working for BJP. So they tried that also. But
and interestingly, Bhavna, I want to add here that Prime Minister in his address to the rally in Bagpat talked about the cane payment, what government is doing, and you know, this election bring back basically issues.
Yes.
You know what were the issues other than communal?
Ganna.
Basically,
Jai Chaudhary
yes,
can be credited with
BJP
a
was
very
categorically playing
Ganna and not Jinnah.
playing
Exactly.
around this communal issue, but power rates increased twice or thrice in UP, and huge area of sugarcane,
That's
12,000 crore in UP, and more than 800 crore within the one parliamentary constituency. And interestingly, the sugarcane development minister in the state government comes from one of the assembly constituency, which is part of this parliamentary constituency,
Oh.
Thana Bhavan. And every meeting he was being asked, the people were raising this question with all BJP fellows. I witnessed in few meetings with these BJP top leaders there. So people were asking about the payment. What are you doing about this? So they were unanswered.
No, but
about these things.
what stopped them from actually taking care of this particular sector, which is quite an important sector in the agrarian
When
segment.
we ask BJP, so they have been only talking about farmers in general. They
Yes.
will tell you about, okay, this is what we've done for farmers. I mean, they'll tell all the schemes that they have been talking about now that they're celebrating 4 years.
That's right.
But when you ask them about the
Sugarcane,
sugarcane farmers, then they have no answer.
No,
That is
actually, this is the good thing. Who lost or who has won this election? But we have come back to the politics
issues.
of issues. Issues, whether it is a farming issue, whether it is a law and order issue, whether it is some developmental issues, and we should leave behind the communal issues.
That's right.
And we should come forward because we are a modern country. Even the Prime Minister's slogan is, we are creating a new India.
Yes.
So new India should be where issues are being discussed and people decide based how their life will be there after
rather than whether meat shops should be closed and things like that, because those, but we also have a little bit of few interesting things that we can talk about from Maharashtra. For instance, Bhandara Gundia, and we are that's probably slightly interior Maharashtra, getting towards the central Indian belt, forested belt, close to Gadchiroli, and you have been there. Would you like to talk
Actually,
about
yes, it's a very important seat, and because it is very this area which is much backward, most backward area with Adivasis and all. And interestingly, Nana Patole was a sitting MP from BJP who resigned. Who resigned that on the issue, not he said that we are not being listened by the top leadership and we can't do anything for our people, those who voted for us. That's why I'm resigning. And because this is the seat is basically NCP seat, Praful Patel comes from that area.
That's right.
His father started business in that area, and it's a very important indication. Even the most backward areas are not supporting to them.
Yes.
And then now the Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan, they'll be like coming just a few months down the road. And what exactly do you think the strategy might be like after this is? Karnataka was not a very emphatic kind of, they did end up with the largest number of seats,
Yes.
but one cannot really say that would have made them, Yediyurappa's last election with them, they had more seats. So this is the first time with Modi campaigning, they ended up with less seats in Karnataka 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And now you have these...
And after losing Kairana, by the way, BJP by itself does not have majority.
That's right.
In Lok Sabha
Yes,
now.
very, very
Yes.
significant
It's a turning
fact,
point.
Yes.
It's a turning point.
Yeah.
And this 2019 the whole talk about elections getting preponed perhaps and all that is incumbent on them generating a sense of doing well. But the overall situation right now, they have not been able to come up with a feel-good factor.
Sunil, one point I want to add here. 2014 was like an election of majoritarian election on one side. There are 10 states where not a single Muslim representative comes from the 10 states. After Kairana seat,
Very significant.
at least one state will represent entire northwest India, starting from Himachal Pradesh to Punjab to Haryana to Madhya Pradesh, UP, Uttarakhand, and Gujarat and Maharashtra. So Tabassum will be the only Muslim
Yes.
MP in Lok Sabha from this northwestern
So very
part of the
good.
country.
Incredible,
So
incredible fact
basically,
which we
it is
have.
basically you are bringing one section of the society into the mainstream of the basically in this politics.
Although locals were saying that perhaps there these are two what she was against Hukum Singh's daughter, and she herself is Munawar Hassan's wife,
Wife.
and a certain kind of dynastic this thing, and their entrenched power figures there.
No, but it's
So
commendable on her part because Mriganka had sympathy factor going for her
Yes.
because her father had
That's right.
passed away, and the entire state machinery was working for her. The entire government's machinery was working for her, and yet Tabassum made it, which is quite commendable actually.
So here we are at the end of the day. The BJP looks like it's got a bit of work to do going forward. And thank you for joining us. And see you next time.